I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, and my father was a member of the Rotary Club in Windsor. And frequently they would have a family day and would invite members of Rotarian families to attend the club meeting. And there were several occasions when I did this. And so I got to learn something about the aims and objectives of Rotary.
The other side of the Rotary family is the families that are in Rotary. I had the great fortune of following my father, who was a member, joined Rotary after he hosted a youth exchange student while I was in South Africa. He joined and then became president in 1984 and had a tremendous career before his passing. And I was only honored to be able to follow in his footsteps and carry that Rotary banner and live the four-way test.
I joined Rotary in 1982, and the reason I joined Rotary is my dad was a Rotarian. My dad was Charles Omertism, and he was encouraging me to get into Rotary. And what actually happened back in those days, there was the classification, so only 3 people could be in real estate, and I was in real estate. So there was an opening that came up, and he wanted me in there, so if I didn't get in right then, somebody else might have taken that spot. So I'll give my dad the credit of getting me into Rotary.
My father, past President Dick Baker, was heavily involved in Rotary when we moved to Belleville starting in the 70s. I have vivid memories of my father being involved in lots of volunteer activities, and back in those days you'd send your kids out with the raffle tickets to sell tickets, and so we would go up and down the neighborhood doing that, and he was always giving of his time and of his talents, and so it was just something that I think I naturally picked up from him.
As a child, I went to a lot of Rotary functions. My father was a Rotarian. So I think that probably initiated it. I always enjoyed every time I was at a Rotary function. And usually there'd be other members of other families in the club there at the same time. So you got to become associated with a lot of people that you liked and people you hadn't met before and got to be friends with. And so I think that probably is what drew me when I came back to Belleville to be interested in joining Rotary.
My relationship with my daughter in Rotary is very important because I wouldn't have joined if she couldn't be a part of it. Because I didn't have time. I was a single mom with a little tiny kid. I joined when she was 7. So there were things that I could do with her, like the AIDS walk she's been part of every year. And Camp Marywood probably since she was 8 or something, 8 or 9, I think. The music festival, I used to make her go in it. Coming to Rotary, she did one of the sample Rotary music festival days that we had. So she was playing the piano. And it has shown her how to be such a great person.
One of the things I'm very grateful of is that Rotary has been a shared experience in our family. I shared it with my dad. My mom's a Paul Harris Fellow. And now with my wife, Corey. Corey is a director on the Rotary Club of Belleville currently. And for us, we get to be able to share a Rotary experience. As an example, we're co-chairs for the Kids Against Hunger packing event where I think last year we assembled somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18,000 meals in a 4-hour period, working with a great team of volunteers from Scouts and Friends of Rotary and Rotarians. But we also talk about some of the things that we'd like to be able to see happen in Rotary. And it's so great to be able to share that with a family member and someone that you love and know that they also share that same sort of commitment and that willingness to be of service in the community. So I'm grateful for my years in Rotary, but to be able to share it with family means everything.
My dad, the late Glenn Reynolds, was a very active Rotarian for many, many years. He was a past president of the club. He was club secretary for probably over 15 years. So as a child, I have fond memories of attending Rotary Christmas parties, collecting pledges and skating in the Rotary Skate-a-thon, singing in the Rotary Music Festival, and the list goes on and on and on.
My father was a Rotarian, and my business partner, Brian Knudsen, was a Rotarian. And having been exposed to Rotary, doing a number of presentations, I've realized that it was a club full of business leaders, community leaders that I wanted to be a part of.